Welcome back to From the Source podcast. This is episode 46, and today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about how people should, or we think they should, vary their events, vary their fitness capabilities, their sports, their competitions, things like that, good or bad. So, is the pros and cons to it? Probably, depending on what area you're in, but yeah, we're going to give you the lowdown on basically where we're at, because it's quite appropriate for us at the minute. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know that we are heavily involved with Hyrox. We're big Hyrox fans, but this year, probably the whole of the year, we're switching it up a little bit, and we're running more, and we're going to be focusing on other areas, not just Hyrox. So we'll go into that as well. So let's start with Hyrox. Basically, the question is it good to do Hyrox again and again and again and again? Is that the best use of your life? Because I see people who do that.
Yeah, there's people that are like extremely committed to the Hyrox season, and when the tickets are released, they'll buy every single one for, say, the UK.
Bear in mind, these are people who are not competitive Hyrox athletes, as in they're not the Jake Dearden.
Yeah, they're not the elite 15s. They're obviously fit in their own respects, but they're just doing Hyrox after Hyrox after Hyrox. And especially like for me, obviously we started off doing Hyroxes, and I still like doing them, and the training and everything is. I like the training because it's more varied than doing like just CrossFit. So that was good, but like the Hyrox event itself is. The only real change for Hyrox is the actual location of which one you do.
Yeah.
That is the only thing. It's just, you know what it is. It's the same thing every single time.
And ultimately, it's a workout, Hyrox, isn't it? It's a race, but it's a big workout. And it is good. Like, it's so popular, and it's rising. Like, if you look at the popularity graph of Hyrox, or the amount of tickets purchased or amount of events they put on, it's going up. But is that something that you want to like always do? Not for me, probably not for us both.
Yeah, I mean, Hyrox obviously good marketing. They've got bigger, and all they want to do is keep putting on more and more events. But actually, the tickets are so hard to get now, and now they're so expensive. They're not. If it was like a Taylor Swift concert, you'd pay £100 for a ticket, but I don't know. It's the same every time, so that factors into like my decision.
And do you know what it is when you do an event like that, like again and again, you start to realize obviously the people putting on the event are making profit, because it's a business and it's a race, and they want to make money. But do I want to pay another £100 to the guys who made Hyrox and run Hyrox like again? The only way that I would do is to measure my fitness level. So we got 1 hour, when we did it together, we got 1 hour 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah.
1 hour 5, I think. Did we, or 4?
No, it's 1 hour 5 and like 50 odd seconds.
Right, so yeah.
Something around that.
1 hour 5, and then let's say we've been smashing the training, and then a Hyrox ticket came up. It'd be good to measure your level of fitness with that time, but
you don't need to do it every month.
Yeah. Some people got an addiction to Hyrox.
Like we said when we finished Birmingham last year, we said, we'll come back and do Birmingham in 2025 and see where we are. But I wouldn't then do Manchester, and then was it Glasgow next month?
Yeah.
And then fly abroad and everything else. I probably would. I'd go do an abroad one if it was in a cool city.
To tie in with a holiday.
Yeah, I would do that. But I wouldn't just fly out, do it, and fly back.
And if you're like training for Hyrox and you're really into it, because your interests come and go, like everyone's interests fluctuate. 1 minute you're into it, 1 minute you're not. So when it comes to Hyrox, you can be really into Hyrox, like I'm going to get it, I'm going to get this time, I'm going to go for my PB. And then you get your first one done, you want to do another one and another one and another one.
Yeah.
But quickly that can like die, because it's, at the end of the day, like creatures of habit, you don't want to fall into like a mundane, I just do Hyrox every 2 months.
Because I was just thinking about Taylor Swift
You're into Taylor Swift today?
No, I'm not. It's shit. But in terms of like, she would release all of her tickets for the year for all the concerts. Would you go to one every month?
No.
Because you know what the set's going to be. You know what a song's going to be. The only thing that's going to change is the venue and what she wears.
Unless you was a super fan.
Yeah, a super fan.
Yeah, maybe these people that are doing High Rocks all the time are a super fan. But the way I see it, right, is like, if you're into fitness and running, lifting weights, maybe like CrossFit-y, Metcon-y, interval training, stuff like that, you're into that, High Rocks is a really good area to get into. But if you lay out all your options, High Rocks is just one of them. And it's good to branch out. And I think a good measure of fitness is not doing the same thing all the time, but it's doing different things, like at random points in the year or in your life, you know. So one thing we're basically bordering on booking or doing is an ultra marathon. So we did last year, like 2024, we did like a broken ultra. So we did 50k, like 55k. We ran from Bridlington to Blackpool, but we did it in 5k or like 7k intervals. So that was not really classed as an ultra, but it was, well, depends if you class it as an ultra. We could.
Yeah, it was an ultra distance.
We ran 55k in one day. So is it an ultra marathon? Like, maybe. But what we want to do is like something that's really classed as an ultra. So we want to book something, or we just want to get better at kind of trail running, long distance running, not for times, just for pure enjoyment running.
Yeah, and I think that I see that as like going to different places and doing different events and seeing places I was never going to see before. Say if you did a trail run right through the mountains and stuff, you're never going to normally do that. That's a cool experience. I mean, you're outside, aren't you?
And it's like a different level of hard, because I mean, like, even on High Rocks is hard, but it's a heart rate high, intensity hard, whereas long distance is mentally.
Yeah.
Your legs are really sore, like way more sore than you would be on a High Rocks, but you're not out of breath. Your heart rate's not sky high. You're just absolutely like mentally and physically drained.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 hours on your feet constantly.
But it's good to put yourself to test your level of fitness in those situations, because it that's a true measure of health.
Yeah, and that training block or whatever for that, say, marathon or ultra marathon, then increases your level of fitness, which then you probably could go back to a High Rocks and just obviously train the specific exercise, the splits or whatever. But I think the end goal is you're generally just getting fitter again. You're going up another level and not being bored just training High Rocks all the time.
Yeah, because it's so good to just change things up. Even in life, like, people get new jobs all the time. They get new cars, they get new clothes, because everything else gets boring. So what you don't want to do is rinse sporting events like High Rocks, because eventually that's going to get boring. And to be honest, like, even on social media, when I see High Rocks come up, I used to like watch all the videos, and all of a sudden, because it's like High Rocks season, I start to just scroll past them because it's in your face all the time. And I guess it's like doing the races. Eventually, you need to switch things up and do something else for a bit.
Yeah, and I think High Rocks will progress to a level of, there will just be like they do now, like the elite days. I'm just thinking about like CrossFit, the CrossFit Games. You have to qualify to get there. Only certain ones go on the telly. And if you want to do it, you have to record yourself in the gym, but you never actually go to CrossFit. You just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think that's what High Rocks will probably get to, because they're still young, aren't they?
Yeah, it's still early days.
But it's just going to go more and more elite.
It's very exciting. That's what makes it so good, High Rocks. They make it so adrenaline pumping.
Yeah, it's a party vibe.
Even when you're a spectator.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, it is. I mean, they are good. They are, but it's just...
it's good to switch it up.
Yeah, there's just a part of me that's just like, do you know the Represent 247 debate we've had, that everyone's wearing it?
Yeah.
Like, everyone I know...
it turns you off.
Yeah, everyone I know is doing High Rocks. I will do High Rocks in you know.
Yeah, we'll probably do it this year.
Yeah.
Maybe,
But for me, doing one every month in the season it's just a lot.
Yeah. I think there's something about, obviously, the importance of competing or racing as an average athlete kind of person that works out on that. You want to test your level, and you want to be around other people who are at a similar level to you and see where you are. So when we did High Rocks, like, we were in the ski, like we were first on the ski or second on the ski. So then we're like, right, we're pretty good. In our heat, we've beat everyone else. We're here.
It was a competition with people in our gym and stuff like that, which is good.
And it's good to just see where am I at. But it's not. You could go down two routes. You could say it's really good to pick one niche and be the best in that niche. So if you're going to go in High Rocks, like, be the best at High Rocks, but you're probably not going to be the best at High Rocks. So if you're spending £400 a year on High Rocks, but what is it for?
Yeah, and it's so expensive. It's not just the ticket; it's the travel. You depend what time you get a heat, a wave time, whatever. You could be staying over in a hotel, the food, everything.
It's weird, isn't it? That, like, I've just been thinking then, like, with High Rocks or races or marathons, stuff like that. High Rocks is a little bit different than a marathon. Sometimes a marathon is like, I want to complete a marathon. I want to finish it. I want to beat my PB. So then when you get to High Rocks, it's like this big run, an event. Why do people actually go and do it? Like, I've never heard someone say, I just want to finish a High Rock. It's like you put yourself in like a race that you're not going to win.
Yeah, and you don't actually know what position you are in.
No, and then
at all, because
it's
everyone's
only when
running
you
differently.
do one that then you can be like, I'm going to do it again and beat my time. But like, why? Why do you want to beat your time?
Yeah, because
like if we did another one, we'd be like, we've got to be 1 hour 5, and really we want to beat 1 hour 60, like 1 hour 60 minutes. But
yeah, like will High Rocks go down? Like, so people when they do running events, it's like it's a massive achievement to finish a marathon.
Yeah, it's huge.
You say, "Oh, I've done a marathon." Everyone's like, "Wow, that's like ridiculous! Like, well done, whatever time you did it at."
Yeah, they don't care.
But then in 10, 15 years' time, will everyone look back and go, "Oh, I completed 5 High Rockses."
Yeah.
Like, will it carry the same weight as like a sub 25K is quick?
I think it won't, and I think High Rocks is a trend, and I think it makes you cool if you do a High Rock.
And that's the same for like all the other events as well, like Athex or whatever it's called.
It's brilliant marketing by the people who make it and the athletes that sponsor it. That if you do these events like an Athex or what's the other one? What's the one you did?
Turf Games. Turf Games, yeah.
Turf Games, Athex,
there's Decker or something in there.
Yeah, Strength in Depth or whatever it's called. There's all these different CrossFit ones and running ones. But there's certain things that you can do where no one cares. Like if you're running a half marathon, that's very impressive. But no one says, which one did you do? Like a marathon, everyone's just like, wow, that's so impressive. But if you do a High Rocks, it's more like, like you're a High Rocks guy. Like it's like a culture. It's like a cool thing.
People do see it as a workout. When you do subscribe to it. What is it? What I'm trying to
when
think.
You sign up.
Describe it to someone. Like they just see it as one big like workout. Oh, that's tough. But I don't know. It just doesn't carry the weight of like. If you did like New York Marathon, that's like wow. What?
Yeah.
You've done the marathon. What a spectacle to do that in all that lot. But for some, I don't know. If you think too much about it,
there's also another element to it. Like, when you do let's say you're doing a CrossFit competition. There's a chance that you could win, otherwise you wouldn't enter it. Or there's a chance that you might get a PB. Let's say you're doing like what's the one you just said, Athex?
Yeah.
You might go to that because you might be like, right, there's a overhead press or there's a squat. I'm gonna get my PB there because it's full of adrenaline and stuff.
Yeah.
But then, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird. Hyrox is it's just very good marketing, and it's a very good vibe when you're there. It's addictive, I think.
Yeah, it is addictive. I can see that. The marketing email and they send out and stuff, it makes you want to buy another one.
Yeah, the fact that the tickets sell out makes you want a ticket.
Yeah, it creates demand, doesn't it?
Yeah, supply and demand.
Yeah.
But it's not that, when we're talking about this, we're actually really big, like, Hyrox, like, advocates. We're really big Hyrox fans. Like, we watch, if Hyrox Elite 15 was on, when is it on? 2 weeks or something?
Yeah, end of this month.
We'll be watching it, but we love it. But it's a weird thing that, like, why do so many people do it? I've seen loads of people this weekend on Instagram, and I've been thinking, like, that's really cool that, people love fitness and they want to do something like this. But again and again and again and again and again, I'm like, what is it that you get from it then?
Yeah, there's some parts of it I'm really excited to do one because I know exactly what I'm doing, how it's going to be set up. But I also know in the back of my mind that it's going to be absolutely packed. You can't sit down. You're constantly on your feet. Then you've got to do the workout.
Yeah. Do you know, there must be some element of this to it, and maybe it's a little bit like too deep in it, and maybe it's like me just talking personally, but there must be some element to Hyrox, which is I'm going to compete and I'm going to get a better time than some of the people I know, so that when they see me or ask me, like when we want sub 60, that's like big, that, if you're doing a double sub 60, like, you are impressive. And there must be some element to doing it where we're like, if we do that, like, we are decent.
Yeah.
We are good.
But you're decent in the Hyrox world. Like, I just kind of look at things and be like, does that translate to other events? Like, if I'm a very good Hyroxer, I'm also a decent 10K runner, I'm a decent half marathon runner.
Well, yeah, because do you know what? If you were good at Hyrox, you might not be able to run a half marathon.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Because you might never have run over 10K.
Yeah, you literally your longest distance might just be the Hyrox distance on the day.
Yeah.
And you might have actually never run a 10K even in training.
You could go to different races, and like Birmingham was like, the Rock Zone was huge, like, it was just huge.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
and you could go to another one, and like, you could shave like 5 minutes off your time, just because the layout was slightly different.
Yeah,
obviously it's the same layout, but
I try my best not to get into that with people because you just come across as like petty though, don't you?
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Because I don't know was it Glasgow or one of them, people were like smashing PBs. I think it was like 2 years ago. Everyone broke PBs. Everyone went like,
really?
Most of the quick people went under 60.
Yeah.
And then the week after, it might have been like before or whatever, but then there was Manchester and everyone's times, like, they were setting world records in Hyrox in Glasgow, wherever it was. And then went to Manchester, they weren't getting anywhere near it.
Yeah.
So like if you were coming back to the gym and like to tell your mates like, oh yeah, like, I've run a 55-minute.
Yeah.
That person at Birmingham's never going to do that because the layout's like different.
It's weird, isn't it? It's a weird thing because ultimately it's just we work out at a CrossFit gym, and like, it's just a metabolic conditioning workout. It's a running endurance workout with all these different things, and we do that every week in, week out. But this is an actual one that just stays the same, and it's like everyone just goes crazy for it.
Because would you do the same workout if I told you every Wednesday is always going to be the same workout?
Yeah, like if our gym coach was like, guys, listen, like, I'm not going to program anything new, we're just going to do this every week. Yeah. You wouldn't pay. But when it's a hyped up comp, it's very, very good from Hyrox.
Yeah, they've nailed it, haven't
founders.
they? Yeah.
The actual thing's not that good, as in, yeah, it's good, like, you run and you do this and you do this, like, it's a solid workout. That's not the bit that you enjoy. You enjoy the hype. You enjoy, like, the atmosphere and the adrenaline and like the music, and it's like all your mates are watching you. You almost feel quite, you're on stage and like you get this feeling of like they're watching me.
Well, you are, aren't you? You're on a
me.
track and everyone's right
Yeah.
next to you and all that lot, and there's the sponsors and
It's all about making people feel like they're an athlete. You know, like Nike do it with the clothes, and they say you are an athlete and you are a hero or whatever. And then Hyrox do that through this simulation thing. So clever.
well played.
But yeah, I mean, we veered off topic slightly here because obviously we were talking about varying events, but the idea is that Hyrox is great, but it's also great to try new things. And one of the things we're going to try this year is long distance running, trail running, possibly an ultra. But we're going to keep it on the down low and just work behind the scenes. And then if it gets to the point where we're doing an ultra, we'll give you the lowdown on it.
Yeah. Not many happen in the UK.
No,
Like,
it's not ideal weather for it.
yeah. The big ultras are like obviously in Europe and America and stuff. They're
Yeah.
like the cool looking ones, but 100k is 100k or 50k is 50k in it. So,
But yeah, I mean, it's good to try new things, and I think, you know, if you're someone that's listening to this and you're like really into Hyrox, or you're also thinking about switching things up, just go for it. It's good that people do new things and get bored, because then you get something else on the horizon and then you work towards it, and you use your fitness level for other aspects. So it's what we want to be, as we've always said on this podcast, functionally fit. So that's what we're going for this year. But yeah, thanks for listening. If you're not yet following, subscribing, commenting, sharing, then please do. We'll catch you in the next one.
see you on the next one.